Dear students, I am Shali, Assistant Professor, Postgraduate Department of English, Don Bosco College, Kottayam. So this is our second class. In the first class, we were discussing about one of the dramas in the paper European Drama, and that is A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. In the first class, we discussed about the biographical details of Ibsen, his major works, important themes in drama, and the detailed analysis of Act 1. And in this class we are having a revision of the previous class and a detailed analysis and critical evaluation of Act 2 and Act 3, and then we are going to look at A Doll's House as a problem play and this specific drama as a modern tragedy, and then we are going to talk about Ibsen's realism. In Act 1 we saw the introduction of several characters, and the main characters are Helmer, Nora, Krogstad, Mrs. Linde, Dr. Rank, etc. The Act 1 shows us the real attitude of Helmer towards Nora and how Nora is living in her family. We get to know about the real crisis Nora experiencing in her family. Now let's go to the second and third acts of this drama. The summary of the second act is like this. Nora tells her nursemaid that she cannot see her children as often as she used to do. Mrs. Linde now comes there and Nora speaks to her about the fancy dress party upstairs the next evening. Then they talk about Nora's death and also about her family friend Dr. Rank. When Helmer returns to the flat, Nora speaks to him in a pleasing way. She begs him not to dismiss Krogstad from his job, but Helmer says that Krogstad is corrupt and intolerable, so he is bent on getting rid of him. He firmly asks Nora not to interfere with this affair. Then he arranges to give notice to Krogstad. Dr. Rank calls on Nora. He tells her that he is in the grip of a terrible disease and that he will not live for long. There is one more medical test. If the result is for the worse, he would send her his visiting card with a black cross on it. It would show that he would die soon. Nora tries to comfort him and says that he is her best friend. She thinks of asking him for a favor in order to settle her pressing personal problems. But when Dr. Rank says that he has loved her all these years, she decides not to receive any favor from him. Krogstad meets Nora again. He exchanges angry and threatening words with her. He says that he will not return the IOU even if she repays the loan. He will use it to persuade Helmer to create a new vacancy for him in the bank. He has written a letter for Helmer revealing Nora's crime of forgery. Before leaving there, he drops the letter in the letterbox. Nora fears that her husband will come to know everything. Mrs. Linde immediately offers to help Nora out of this crisis. She plans to persuade Krogstad to ask Helmer for this letter back unread. Helmer comes out of his study room followed by Dr. Rank. Nora is terribly nervous. She wants to prevent her husband from opening the letterbox. She begs him to devote himself exclusively to her that evening. She dances wildly as a rehearsal for her dance at the fancy dress party the next evening. She makes her husband play the piano for her while she dances. He realizes that she is nervous and frightened. Nora makes him promise that he would be with her till the next day's party is over. She frantically requests him not to open any letters until then. Now let's look at the critical comments of Act 2. In Act 2, the events move rapidly towards a crisis. Nora finds that her situation is becoming frightfully desperate. She has little control over either her husband or Krogstad. Helmer sends notice to Krogstad as the first step to sack him. Krogstad, on his part, writes a letter to Helmer revealing Nora's crime of forgery. Nora is terribly upset and nervous. She fears that a fatal crisis is developing in her life. She suffers intensely. At the same time, she has the vague feeling that she must do something brave or unusual to tide over this crisis. In this act, we get a clear idea about the inner life and motives of all the leading characters. Helmer's love for his wife is superficial. He is led more by pride and egotism than by real love. He thinks of his wife as a beautiful doll or as a pretty singing bird and not as an individual on her own right. Nora's relationship with Dr. Rank shows her craving for friendship. Mrs. Linde also proves to be a good friend of Nora. Krogstad acts in a mean and wicked way because of his own desperate life. Towards the end of the act, too, considerable dramatic suspense is built up. Nora hopes that Krogstad will not take extreme steps to destroy her. But Krogstad acts quickly and drops the fatal letter to Helmer in the letter box. When Helmer comes to take his letters, the suspense increases. Nora, however, prevents him from opening the letterbox by dancing wildly and excitedly. Nora's nervous state of mind is symbolically revealed by her wild dance. So this is the summary of second act and critical analysis of the same act. Okay. Next we go to the summary of act third. The next day in the evening, Krogstad meets Mrs. Linde in the apartment of the Helmers. Nora and Helmer are upstairs taking part in a fancy dress party. Krogstad and Mrs. Linde talk about their younger days when they were in love. Mrs. Linde is now a widow and Krogstad is a widower. Mrs. Linde suggests that they should live together to give a new meaning and direction to their life. Krogstad gratefully accepts the offer. He also agrees to take back his letter from Helmer unread. But Mrs. Linde says that it would be better for Helmer to know the secret so that there should be an end to secrecy and deception. Nora and Helmer return from the party upstairs. Mrs. Linde tells the worried Nora that she must disclose the whole secret to her husband. Nora refuses to do so. When Mrs. Linde leaves there, Dr. Rank comes in. He says that his last medical test is over, but doesn't mention what the result was. When Dr. Rank departs, Helmer opens the letter box. He finds 2 visiting cards from Dr. Rank among the letters. There is a back cross mark above the name of Dr. Rank on the card. Nora explains its meaning. It means that Dr. Rank would soon die of tuberculosis. But Helmer feels no genuine sympathy for his dying friend. Helmer goes to his room to read his letters. One of the letters was that of Krogstad. Nora decides to leave the house before Helmer finishes reading the letter. She resolves never to see him again, but Helmer rushes to her with the open letter. He calls her a hypocrite, a liar, and a criminal. He angrily declares that he will not allow her to bring up the children. He wants to hush up the whole matter and to keep up appearances. At this time, the maid brings a note to Nora from Krogstad. Helmer reads it first. It says that Krogstad regrets and apologizes for what he has done. He has sent back the IOU also. Helmer tears up both the note and the IOU. He feels relieved and happy and tells Nora that he forgives her completely. Nora, however, is very firm in her decision to leave Helmer. She says that both he and her father had wronged her. Her father regarded her as a baby doll and Helmer regarded her as a doll wife. Helmer thought only of himself and never recognized her as an individual like himself. Helmer desperately pleads with Nora to remain with him. He appeals to her sense of duty as a wife and as a mother. He appeals to her religious sense and her moral conscience. Nora asserts that her first duty is to herself. She has realized that Helmer is not the man with whom she should live. For her, he is now a stranger. She declares that she will not see him or her children again. She will not even permit him to write to her or to help her. Nora now leaves her husband for good, slamming the door behind him. So this is a summary of Act 3. Now let's look at the critical analysis of Act 3. The play reaches its sensational climax in Act 3. The central ideas in the play are powerfully developed in this act. The dreadful sufferings of Nora continue almost to the end of the play. But in the very last part, Nora suddenly proves herself to be a strong-willed woman. Nora asserts her dignity and independence as a woman. It is Helma who now appears to be helpless, weak, and pitiful. Act 3 opens with a reconciliation between Mrs. Linde and Krogstad. In their younger days, they loved each other deeply. Now, after passing through many bitter and harrowing experiences in life, they decide to marry and live together. Krogstad's good fortune makes him a better man. He regrets that he wrote a fatal letter to Helma. He is ready to ask Helma to return the letter unread. Ibsen here shows that personal circumstances decisively influence human conduct. In the play, the reconciliation of Krogstad and Mrs. Linde provides a contrast to the worsening relationship between Nora and Helma. Dr. Rang's fatal illness adds a tragic dimension to the play. Nora is now deprived of a faithful friend. Helmer's indifference to this tragedy shows that he is by nature selfish and self-centered. His egotism is further proved by his violent reaction when he reads Krogstad's letter. In the last part of Act 3, the dramatic conflict develops rapidly. There is irony and suspense in the situations and the dialogue. Holding Krogstad's letter in hand, Helmer calls his wife a hypocrite, a liar, and a criminal. Nora calmly listens to all his outrageous accusations. Then she startles him by her decision to leave him at once. She accuses him of treating her as a doll wife. She says that he neither loved her nor regarded her as an individual like himself. The conflict between Nora and Helma is in one sense an intensely personal one, but Ibsen has succeeded in universalizing it by treating it as a women issue in a male-dominated society. Nora argues that hundreds and thousands of women have sacrificed their honor for the men they love, but men deny them freedom and prevent them from understanding themselves. Nora's revolt against her husband is a revolt against conventional morality, conventional law, and religion. When she slams the door behind Helma, she is unconsciously expressing the spirit and determination of the women struggling for emancipation. So students, this is about the critical analysis and the overall analysis of Act 3 also. So this is the overall story, the plot summary of the drama A Doll's House. Now we are going to look at some of the major themes in this drama. Now let's look at Ibsen's Doll's House as a problem play. Bernard Shaw has said that the introduction of discussion and its development is one of the technical novelties of Ibsen. In A Doll's House, Ibsen introduces the idea of equality between man and woman. He raises the specific question of women's freedom and its effect on married life. In the last scene of the play, there is a dramatic encounter between Nora and her husband Helmer. This scene brings out the conflict between conventional morality and morality of the new woman. Helmer expresses the traditional concept about a woman's duty, about conscience and moral sense. But Nora expresses the views of the new woman. She speaks of herself as a free individual. She speaks of her sacred duty to herself. This raises the problem of her relation and duty to her children. Finally, she leaves her husband and children impelled by her new ideas. A doll's house is thus centered on a conflict of ideas. But in the strict sense of this term, it is not a play of ideas or a problem play. What Ibsen has done in the play is to give intense dramatic life to the new ideas about women's freedom. The next important theme we are going to discuss is A Doll's House as a modern tragedy. Ibsen called A Doll's House as a modern tragedy, but many critics regarded it as a triumphant assertion of the new woman's spirit of independence. Towards the end of the play, Nora leaves her husband. This is in one sense a tragedy for the married life of Nora and Helma. Helma has seen everything from the point of view of a masculine authority. His conventional moral sense and false sense of honor are responsible for his tragedy. Almost throughout the play, Nora is in the grip of anxiety, despair, and terror. It is because of Helma's false sense of honor that she hides from him the fact about her debt and forgery. Helma treats her as a doll and denies her individual freedom. She is frantically and intellectually enslaved. Her final revolt against Helma leaves him a pathetic and pitiful figure. Thus, in an important sense, A Doll's House is a tragedy in the married life of a middle class family. Now we are going to look at another important theme, that is this drama as an expression of Ibsen's treatment of realism. When Ibsen began to make plays, the art of the dramatist had shrunk into the art of contriving a situation, and it was held that the stranger the situation, the better the play. Ibsen saw that, on the contrary, the more familiar the situation, the more interesting the play. Shakespeare had put ourselves on the stage, but not our situations. Our uncles seldom murdered our fathers, and cannot legally marry our mothers. We do not meet witches. Our kings are not, as a rule, stabbed and succeeded by their stabbers. And when we raise money by bills, we do not promise to pay pounds of our flesh. Ibsen supplies the want left by Shakespeare. He gives us not only ourselves, but ourselves in our own situations. The things that happen to his stage figures are things that happen to us. One consequence is that his plays are much more important to us than Shakespeare's. Another is they are capable of both hurting us cruelly and of filling us with excited hopes of escape from idealistic tyrannies and with vision of intenser life in the future. So this is all about today's class, and dear students, your homework for today's class is write a paragraph about Ibsen's realism and A Doll's House as a problem play. And thank you so much and wish you good time.